Alrighty, hello and welcome. I'm Zilla,
Oh, I'm Tortoise.
and this is Ancient Gaming, my weekly live stream where I play video games with ancient studies content and talk about it. This is our fourth venture into Heaven's Vault, a game about epigraphy, puzzles, and, grad school. And robots and stuff.
I am just coming back. I missed last week because of the MIT mystery hunt. And apparently there were at least 2 puzzles about video game languages.
One was about Tunic, which I haven't gotten to play yet. I have heard lots of good things about Tunic, though.
And a whole round that was puzzles in other languages that we didn't get to see.
But we will. Somebody told me there was an Arabic language crossword. And while I don't know a lot of words in Arabic, I at least wanted luck. But to the matter at hand. So far in Heaven's Vault, we are playing a history and archaeology grad student named Aaliyah, who comes from a backwater planet named Elbereth, or they call them moons here. And the moons in the nebula are connected by rivers. Aaliyah is one of the few lucky people who have her own boat. Most people never leave their moons. The university is called Iox, and it is the center of the Ioxian Protectorate, I think they call it, which is totally not an empire. Anyway, we have this nice recap page. Aaliyah and her robot 6 have found the smoking wreck of Janiki Renba's ship, along with the final message intended for Professor Miyari. That's our grad student advisor, with whom we have a pretty reasonable grad student and advisor relationship, which is to say completely adversarial, and yet we do each other favors all the time. The roboticist was looking for an ancient observatory called the Vault, which he claimed could prevent a great darkness from overtaking the nebula. Meanwhile, Aaliyah has found something else, what might be called the Lost Crown of the Holy Empire, an ancient civilization that predated the Ioxian Protectorate, hidden alongside a crude map pointing to an unknown moon. Surely Aaliyah should return to Iox to tell Miyari about Renba's death.
Surely.
Well, maybe. So we have been sent out by Miyari to find Renba, and now we know what happened to him, although we didn't find his body. Personally, I think there is reason to suspect that Miyari might actually have set him up to be killed and just wanted whatever it was that he found, but we'll see. So I think we're going to get into it. If you are watching us live, please say hello in chat. It's always lovely to hear from you. And otherwise, let's see what's up next. Here we are in our ship. Let's head back to civilization. I hope you do not mean Elbereth. So we have a choice of where to go. 6 is going to help us sail our boat. No, I mean, we do have the option of letting it go on autopilot. So, on our map of the nebula, we are here on the Hermitage Moon. We could go to Elbereth, which is where we're from, although we haven't seen it yet in this game. And she has a friend who might be able to tell us some more about some of the things we've been seeing. We could head back to Iox, of course, and tell Miyari what happened. We could head to Mercy, but, there's not a lot of reason to go there. And then we have this option for Renaki, which is this Market Moon way out. And then we've also gotten enough artifacts that 6 can help us navigate towards a new archaeological site, which is pretty exciting. What do you think, Tortoise?
I think I want to see the new site.
New site? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see about that then.
We'll have a nice long sail.
I love how detailed the geography of the nebula is. Everything has a name, even though the rivers are essentially just this in and out forever. Route goes left shortly. So we do have control over the boat, but only a little bit. Renda didn't hopper down, he landed his boat. The hopper is the teleporter. Or he tried to land his boat. Or else he wasn't able to return. I suspect Master Remba attempted to detonate himself off the surface of the moon. That's an idea. Maybe that's why his ship blew up. But why didn't we see his body anywhere? It's not like it would have decayed in the airless wastes. I mean, it's not completely airless there. You could breathe, but the atmosphere isn't exactly thick. I will warn viewers that if you're going to play this, the sailing takes a bit to get used to. I happen to like it, but I know not everyone does. Why is Ghostwake called that? That's 6 talking to us. They say Ghostwake is haunted. You know, according to the Great Loop, the souls of the dead sail the river until they're reborn. Okay, so she's telling us some information about the religion. The story goes that most of them are asleep, dreaming of childhood or lovers or big meals, I don't know. Whatever you dream about, it's pleasant, I guess. But then sometimes they have nightmares and wake up. Those that stay awake forever, trapped in the rivers, formless, said they gather in the ghost's wake. Wow, look at that nebula up ahead of us. It said you can hear their helpless cries. We could go either way. We're now in a place called the Wires. Do you believe it, mistress? I find it improbable. So no. I don't suppose it's true. Ghostwake has a lot of narrow, winding rivers and thick fog. It's the sort of place where sailors get lost and come back with crazed stories, that's all. We'll need to turn right, okay. Getting to a place where the rivers are a little thinner. Wonder why Renba didn't use a hopper to land on the moon. That's what we did. Landing his ship must have been almost impossible. Was he a devout believer in the loop, perhaps? Lupists believe that hoppering is like throwing oneself in the river. It is intended for the dead. Removes part of the soul. Well, that's not good news for Aaliyah. Remba lost more than a part of his soul back there. Indeed, mistress. So, I wonder what that says if hoppering is for the dead and robots are built with hopper capabilities. We're now in something called the Eagle's Pass. Eagle and sun, the symbols of the Holy Empire.
With what you were saying about the hoppers and the souls, that Renbo was somehow able to possess Six's...
Six's robot.
Yeah.
Use Six as his mouthpiece. Well, the Emperor removed a shrine from the site we're looking for and placed it outside the hermitage. Then drew a map as though they wanted to go back. So why didn't they just go there? Wow, that's a lot of options. Perhaps the Emperor who died in that hermitage was in hiding. Perhaps they wished to keep the site safe. They wanted to keep it safe. They shouldn't have drawn a map. True. You have a point, mistress, says Six. I really do just find all of the sailing so beautiful. Like
No one knows
conception.
how far the rivers go. No one's ever mapped them. Not even the robots. Or, if they did, they aren't telling.
Look out there, Six. Evidently, it is indeed beautiful. Evidently. Well, at least Aaliyah feels the same way I do. You can get all kinds of conversation as you're sailing, depending on how long you stay. I have no idea where we are on the map by this point, but we could look. Do you think Remba found the site from the mural we're after? I think that's unlikely. Seems unlikely, says Six. Ah, we've come to the Ghost's wake. Perhaps he would have if he had not been so careless as to get blown up. There must be some deeper connection between this site and the ruined Hermitage Moon near Mercy. It is most likely a connection Master Rembo was not interested in. I don't know why you'd assume that. So what was he interested in? I do not know. Okay, so we're in the vicinity of the site from the mural. We no longer know exactly where it is. Just that it's nearby. Using the readings from Six's instruments, presumably. See any ghosts to wake. Only water and clouds. And snow as the water drifts apart.
I guess I wasn't really aware of that pun there, because I was just assuming wake was like choppy water.
Some kind of ruin up ahead. Where? Show me it. I want. Okay, well, Six will have to hop her down alone, that's fine. Where is it? I want to go to it. Well, I want Six to go to it. Bring me stuff! Oh, there it is, I think. Maybe? Six, what happened to the river? I do not know. Approach ruin, yes please. We are barely sailing, but we are moving. The ruins here appears to date from the
robot hoppered
Empire. I will
away.
investigate.
And I
So
was
6
alone.
hoppers down. You know, we can see... Oh, a shard of a pendant made from crystal. Wonder how long it's been there. Look at the craftsmanship. Such tiny details worked in. It doesn't have an inscription. I'd say this was made at the site we're looking for. It must be nearby. Okay, so we'll have to... Okay. Sometimes the borders of these things are a little bit strange. But I did want to say, you know, it seems kind of funny that everything is preserved, including the green leaves on that tree that was on the bit of ruin. But it really did look like a bit of a moon that had been broken off mid-building. So even if the ruin is old, maybe that piece of it wasn't always there. Maybe that's relatively recent, that breakage. I want to look at our map for a moment. So we've got 3 possible search locations. Let's zoom in a little bit.
Can we track one of them?
I think we might actually be locked into this one at this point, if I understand the rivers correctly. So I'm not entirely sure if we have a choice right now, but we could try circling out of the area and coming back into it. So if I go to the left at the next 2 turnings and then right thereafter. No, that'll just take me in a big loop. I won't, because the rivers only go one way. They're rivers. So I'm not sure at this point we have a choice. I'd love to see all of the ruins, but I think we might be locked into what's probably the correct course. Just based on the map. So it is interesting that Aaliyah is a little bit. So we've found the moon. There is an atmosphere if Aaliyah can go down. This is the site from the mural. Somebody drew a map to this place, but why? But it's interesting that Aaliyah notes that the rivers here are not as rapid as elsewhere, and that's surprising to her, that something has happened to the rivers. They're getting slower. Well, this moon certainly has
Of all the
vegetation.
sites I travelled to with the robot, most of them seemed lost, abandoned. But this one felt like it had been hidden.
Aaliyah is not our most hearty protagonist. The lanterns are all still burning. It's like we're expected. That would be unlikely. There's only one living person on this moon, you. Trees. Lots of them. Growing from fissures in the rocks, the roots will eventually split the slope beneath us, and the whole site will subside. But someone planted them here. Perhaps. More likely a seed was scattered by the wind and took root. There is something here. A palace? I would estimate the site to be more than 1,500 years old. It is quite a find, whatever it proves to be. Ooh, there's something etched on the tree. Time to get out our translation book. Start of a fragment of text. So it's giving us this prompt. We need to figure out where the word breaks are. Gives us a few options. What do you think, Tortoise? Where should we start?
Hang on, I'm still transcribing.
Okay. Let's see. So, I do see every, but I think it might be part of forever. So I'm going to try that.
Although it's forever with a noun marker before it, so it might be, you were talking about the difference between forever and eternity, and that might be...
That's not a noun marker there. That's a word end marker, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's the other way. So maybe that's this. What do you think, Aaliyah? Oh, she thinks we're correct. So, something live forever. And so what do we have here, Tortoise? That first mark isn't a noun marker, is it? Because the noun marker is the curlier one.
Yeah, what I've seen that marker in so far is a couple of words, holy, and something that we think is maybe great or enormous. So I think this is an
adjective marker?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we get our noun marker. So an adjective being formed from a noun, maybe. And then a negative sign, and then the center of the verb to live. So...
Sounds like dead to me.
Sounds like dead to me, too. We've got that as an option. We're going to take it. Dead live forever, but I have no idea what it means. Perhaps this place is a mausoleum? Perhaps. It's a strong inference to make from a single tree. True? Is it stronger than any of my other options, though? Probably not. It's saying they believed in ghosts. Bless the goddess, this could have been built yesterday. A palace frozen in time. All this bright vegetation, trees which will eventually split the moon into pieces, lanterns hung from them that are still burning. Are they electric or are they fire? I don't know. Notice that everything here is built for robots, right? It's got these ramps alongside the stairs. Ooh, there's something over on the side. Look at that first. Something worked into the stone. Let's do more epigraphy. It's broken off. So, we have what looks like dead again to me. What do you think, Tortoise?
Yeah. And the of is pretty clear.
Okay, so that isn't just plant.
Yeah. But the thing that looks kind of like a, the triangle on the river, on the water sign, it showed up in like words like home and empire, so I think it might mean place.
That makes sense, especially if the triangle is some kind of mountain shape, so like land on water. In a context of moons in a nebula connected by rivers, so something like island. So we think that little marker looks like grass is plants, so plant place. What do we got? We've got garden.
Looks good to me.
Garden of the Dead. mausoleum is sounding better all the time if we're right. That will do for now. A graveyard? Must have been for important people. Is there anything more outside here? Wow, we can slip around this way, I think. I most certainly cannot. You don't think you can make it? If I were to topple Mistress, it's not as though I could grab onto something to save myself. Let's go back and look at the front entrance then, I suppose. There must be another way in. There was the gate, Mistress. Yes, thank you, 6. Let's look at this gate. Main gate. Ancients never had the foresight to leave doors unlocked. Let's look through. Ooh, a goddess statue. Some kind of courtyard. Horn statue watching over the dead. Of course, Mistress. There's a hopper eye inside the courtyard. An eye? Indeed. The glass is still intact. The eye will focus the hopper signal into the courtyard. And if the glass isn't intact, the signal will not entangle and nothing will happen. Or we will refract to an unexpected location. Maybe I'll go around the side. You go ahead. You can hopper in. I'm just gonna walk. Don't wanna slip. Maybe I can finally lose that robot out here. Leah is not a big fan of being spied on.
Died.
So still. There you are,
The smell of
Mistress.
flowers flooded the misty air.
Why is 6 dancing? This is a graveyard, then where are the graves? Did this gate ever open? There are no hinges. Wow, that's fascinating. I want to talk about this goddess. I wonder who she is. She seems sad. I don't see any inscriptions to tell us. Ooh, no inscriptions. She's weeping and beckoning. Got it. She's a death goddess, welcoming people to the afterlife, and this place is a graveyard. Okay, so are we sure there are no inscriptions? Why is the goddess covering her eye? Death doesn't care what you look like. I like that answer. She doesn't need to see. It's hard to understand old symbols without their context, and this god is very, very old. I want to see. Oh, can I not walk around the center? There we go. Whole place is incredible. It's perfect. It's intact. The site is so old that it's easy to imagine it would have decayed by now. It's over 1,000 years old. Musk and rose, a perfume garden. No sign of Renba. Most likely he didn't find this moon. The foliage is a little overgrown, but she's right to point out that a 1,500-year-old structure on a moon with enough water and air for this kind of foliage growth should be decayed more than it is. Tree cracking the stone. Must have been a stray seed once, nothing more. Now look at it. It'll bring the whole place down in the end. The same fate will overtake this place eventually. Perhaps we could finish our explorations before that? No. I must look at everything. Locked. Break down. Perhaps Mistress intends to use my holographic head as a battering ram. No need to be snippy six. Yes, there is. There's no need to be persistently inaccurate, Mistress. That's very funny.
What about the other door?
Just trying to see if there is some way in. There's not. But let's hope this one. Oh! You wouldn't think a moon like this could be so lush. It's no mercy. There are no farms, no villages, just rock and water. Water flows where it chooses, Mistress. There's no grand design at work. I'm not convinced of that. I think that this is designed. This one's definitely stuck. A tree has demolished the corridor beyond. A tree is a creature like any other. Slow, but ultimately self-interested. That's an interesting philosophy on life and existence, I suppose. Okay, so no getting in there. What else have we got? Well, this corridor is completely overgrown. Very little cracking in the stonework. I mean, some of it is cracked for sure, but not nearly as much as I would expect. And there's so much water here. Whole canals and waterfalls of it. Everywhere else in the nebula seems to have trouble with water. Ooh, painting. We don't get many of these. Almost all worn away. I can't get anything from it. Well, I wonder if I can. But what do you make of this, Six? Really was a lot of writing here once, miss. A whole chronicle, perhaps? I believe some characters can still be seen. Ooh, that's a long inscription. But we're not going to get the whole thing right away. Did we get to view it? Okay. So we can try to piece this apart.
God, there's a lot here.
It's a long one. I'm not sure we know enough to do this, which is probably why it blinked out on us.
Looks like we've got at least one new symbol in here. Long line.
Oh, we haven't seen the long squiggle before?
Not the sort of.
Oh, the upward motion.
Yeah.
You can tell from the shape of the stroke, by the way, where the brush in this case, or stylus, was put down. Because it has a particular shape. It's always going to be fatter at the point of contact. And then you can pull back as you make the stroke, and that's what gives you that pointy bit. So I'm guessing that since we have all of these symbols together, that they're going to be the same as whatever we had before. But is there anything else we can even put in here? Oh, I think I see all. But it's got a noun marker in front of it, so I doubt it's going to be right. And it's got a possessive marker in front of it. Is there something else we can put in here?
So it looks like we may have some kind of pronoun after that. Or, wait, was it pronoun? What is that sort of, or first person, something, the thing right after what you've marked as all.
Oh yeah, this little like bowl shape with a dot in it. And you can see, interestingly, because this does appear to be written from left to right, and so most strokes you will see sort of have either a spiraling out in a clockwise direction or starting at the right and moving, or starting at the left and moving right. But in that little bowl, you can see it actually goes the other way, because the fat end is on the right. So, a different direction than most of the writing. But this one, we don't appear to know enough to even break this into words.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything else, do you?
Yeah. I mean, might be able to piece some together from the symbols, but the game won't let us do that.
Alas. So, I guess, for now, go back to this mural. Now, just looking at what's depicted here, I see an eagle wing on the right and a sun at the top. So we've already identified this as an Empire period ruin. That makes sense. And then in the middle we have some people, and they appear to be in a building, and it looks like they're facing each other and one is bowing. I mean, we can't be sure that that's a bowing motion, but one is certainly hunched over, and the other has an outstretched arm. So we could be looking at, a procession of gods, and maybe the one with the outstretched arm is the death goddess. But on the other hand, we could be looking at, we've identified this as a graveyard for important people, probably, based on our inscription so far. So in this context, it might be a procession of supplicants to an emperor. So beyond that, I can't tell from here, but worth looking into. Oh, what's down here? What's this? There's something here. A chipped sailor's knife dating from the the earliest date of Empire. There's no inscription, but I don't think we've seen anything like this chipped knife before. Which means it must have originated on a site that's entirely new to us. Ooh, more sites in the workings. And the river continues up and up and up. I wish we could go all the way up, but like I said, Aaliyah is not the hardiest of protagonists. She is actually, I would call it asthmatic. She's not exactly your average sedentary scholar of today. She sails her own boat, but she's also not accustomed to a lot of physical work. And so whenever the game has her, breathing hard, or we can get through here, that's enough. Ooh, a glass house. Looks like a jungle in there, a very warm and moist environment. Is that a tree sticking out of the roof? It's amazing this place is still standing. I don't want to go back through. I'm just looking around. Let's try the door. It's stuck, of course. So do we turn back now? Go home? There's clearly more to find here. I don't suppose you're genuinely interested in my opinion. I'm not. No, sorry. There's gotta be another way inside. Perhaps you could smash a window and climb in over the glass, mistress. That was sarcasm. Don't do that. That's a very bad idea for somebody like Aaliyah. Oh, there is a narrow gap, though. Do you see any other way in? Not from this side. Alright, try not to rust.
Ooh.
The door's open. So many thorns. I'm not going back that way if I can help it. Aaliyah, bold, but not physically fit.
The air inside the glass house was damp. It smelt like fruit. and warm water.
It's so peaceful here. The tree's even bigger close up. Reminds me of the Tree of Knowledge on Iox, which is a nice large tree. What a greenhouse. This door has been jammed open for 1,500 years, and there's still so much humidity in here. The air is warm. There are butterflies and a fountain. Oh, look at this beautiful fountain. Still flowing after all this time, not clogged or rusted. I think it would be clogged with moss and dirt. Here's the door we almost came in through. Oop. Eek. Found a way in. Thanks for waiting. You see you're still undamaged. So we had our little health bar show up from shoving open the door. And you know, that's something that I really love mechanically, is that this game is not about, you know, a super able-bodied person doing impossible things. Quite a collection. These plants must have been assembled. I didn't think the glass house was natural 6. No, indeed. Something among the leaves. Yes, please. What have we got? It's a brass devotional icon of a leaf. Looks like it dates from the Holy Empire, and there's a message on it. Yay, my favorite.
Ooh.
This one is several words. I love that first sigil. It is so clearly a backwards question mark.
If it turns out to be a question marker, I'm going to be disappointed.
He's gonna be disappointed, fans.
What did you say?
Let's see. What can we see here? I do see Carrie. I do see River. River's Carrie is a good combo.
So, yeah, home is the end.
Home is the end.
So that...
A lot of glyphs, but I'm confident it says Rivers. Woohoo! A new confirmation to add to our book. What were you saying, Tortoise?
well, the other unknown word that has... Like, it has the same notice, similar to me, but a different marker inside the cup. So probably, you know, if the dot is first person, then maybe this is second person.
Yep, definitely could be. We have a couple things here that are potential pronouns. We've got ours, you, and yours. You'd think that ours or yours would have a possessive marker, don't you think?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we've seen we or our. So, second person, like you were saying, seems like a pretty good bet. And then... So these symbols are a bit interesting. We've got that question mark, which we've not seen before. We've got the circle inside a circle, which I associate with time. I don't know if that's true, but like that's how I think of it. And we've got a verb marker at the end, so that's an interesting formation. What do you think, Tortoise?
Yeah, I guess either if or may, because I could see both of them having connections to verbs. I mean, may is a modal verb.
So a modal verb, maybe? Yeah, that seems like a good guess. May rivers carry you home. I think
It also
that's
sounds
right.
like a good
loop proverb. Most likely this comes from the same place as the dagger, the one we found on the Hermitage Moon. Ooh. Neat. So, what else can we see in here? Oh, there is something etched in the bark of the tree. And I do want to point out that things etched in the bark of a tree, an inscription on a tree, something etched into the bark, should have grown over in 1,000 years if the trees have been growing like they seem to have been. So, this is a little unrealistic. But on the other hand, like, this whole place is preserved in some sort of unrealistic way. And and Aaliyah has been pointing that out, so I don't know. It's kind of odd.
Yeah, I definitely get the feeling that somebody has been here more recently than...
Yeah, someone has been here more recently than 1,500 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. So, I can see at the end we have forever. And live forever. That's a thing that everybody wants to do, right? Everybody wants to live forever. Do you really want to live forever? It looks like it starts with we, and that's maybe another instance of a modal verb in the middle there. It was basically the same construction that we had, except for the question mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can add my translation to we to my dictionary. Okay, so we've gotten confirmation on I and we. And then we have this construction here. So if we think this is some kind of a modal or helping verb of some kind.
And it also seems to have to do with time.
So maybe this is a future, a will. Now, there is no particular reason that a language needs to have helping verbs. That is a construction that is actually reasonably unusual. So what I'm trying to get at here is that in English we have I will live. In another language, that construction will live might be different endings or even different beginnings on the same verb. The way that we have, ed to mark a past tense in English. So, I don't know, as a constructor...
Yeah. I mean, again, it's meant to be solved from sitting at a console.
Mm-hmm. So the idea here is that this is constructed for us. This is not as natural as a purely constructed language might be if it weren't meant to be interpreted through a translation lens into English. Much like having the word order the way it does seem to be. We will live forever. Does that make sense? Hope whoever carved this wasn't too disappointed. Okay, anything else in the greenhouse? What's over here? What are these colorful flapping things? They appear to be everywhere, but only inside this chamber. Butterflies 6. Some people on Iox collect them and pin them to boards. I think they look better in motion. Yeah, despite my fondness for Nabokov, I am no lepidopterist myself. So that's the door we came in by, so I guess we have more or less explored the greenhouse. So what's out here? Anything? Just more plants? Ah, this looks familiar. And there's an inscription on it. Around the stones in the base.
Oh, look,
I've not
spaces.
seen anything close to the next word. So it's that upward motion you were mentioning before as a relatively new glyph. And then we also have some kind of adjective, perhaps.
It looks like it has the same ending as together.
So this is really simple, this upward motion. I really like the idea that this is to be.
Yeah.
As this concept tends to be one of the most central. Sometimes to the point of complete elision. Like, some languages don't even verbalize to be. And then, of course, there's also the possibility, like in English, that you'll get what we call a suppletive verb, where there were multiple versions of the meaning to be, and the ones that got most frequently used just combined together, which is why we have such disparate forms as be, are, is, were. Like, those are not very linguistically connected. And that's largely because they come from different verbs. But in a writing system, especially an ideographical writing system, this is probably going to be very simple. So what do you think of this adjective?
So it's an adjective, person, together. Like, I could see it being tied or healthy, but if it were tied, I would probably expect to see some kind of verb included, or verb marker.
Yeah.
Because I think, like, other times when there might have been participles, they've included a verb marker.
Yeah. And there's also the context, both the textual and the contextual. So, may you be tied doesn't make a lot of sense. Not without some kind of metaphorical knowledge. May you be healthy does. But in the context of where we found it, I'm actually wondering if it's may you be eternal. There's not a time marker, which makes me hesitant.
Yeah, I don't really see how eternal would be person together.
Perhaps in a sense of wholeness, but I'm going to stick with healthy for now. So this construction, this sundial, which doesn't really look much like a sundial to me, in a place without an orbiting sun. Can you tell the time by the sundial on Ajax? No one can. I don't know why it's called a sundial. I don't know why they have a concept of a sundial. That's really just very strange, isn't it? This must be from some time when they were settled on a planet.
Mm-hmm.
Mistress, please. Oh, I just walked across that bridge. You can't expect me to cross that. I will topple into the water and sink. Stop fretting. The stone is quite stable. You're attempting to goad me into crossing. I cannot be goaded. I know you have lost robots before. 5 of them. That's why they're named 6. Stop being so melodramatic. Be advised, I will hopper myself to the boat if I so much as teeter, and I do not guarantee a return. That wasn't too bad, was it? I did not enjoy it. I found the risk most uncomfortable. Oh, stop complaining. Next time, wait in the ship. I cannot.
That's like your Stadler and Waldorf.
More water here than I've ever seen. Enough water for Elbereth 3 times over, if there were only a way to transport the water. I mean, There is rivers, you know. Moon is a mountain. There's nowhere for anything to grow. I know. It isn't fair. Door. Is it locked? Or stuck? Okay, well, we can go back through the greenhouse if we must. Oh, interesting.
Stone markers huddled together, whispering nasty things about me.
Shrines like the one behind the hermitage on the moon near Mercy. So, anything over here? It used to go higher, at least on this side. Mark. Gardens are quite remarkable, but the graves are surprisingly simple. No great tombs or mausoleums. Perhaps they believed their souls would return to the rivers. Did the emperors believe in the loop? Ooh, I didn't want to leave. No, we shouldn't return to the ship. No, what are you talking about? I just want to go look at the shrines. A stone marker. There's so many of these markers. This might have once been inscribed, but it's been worn smooth, unlike the trees. Can I look at these ones? I was trying to go up to them, but I don't think it wanted me to. Wait. Moon has levels of ambient moisture, otherwise it's quite clement. This one in better condition, still legibly carved. Of course we're going to translate it. There's a few words here. We'll have to tease them apart. So... well, I see us. Apparently there are not case markers here. I actually have a whole video on cases if you're curious, but the short version is that they're different forms of nouns and pronouns in order to mark what we would use often word order for. In English, actually, pronouns do still have case. Although only 3 cases. So we have I in the nominative case, and that's when I am the subject. And then we have me for usually the objective case in English. I would call it the accusative, but we use it for a lot of other stuff. So like, give that to me, or someone is talking about me, or you see me, all that sort of thing. And then we have the genitive or possessive, my. And we have that for most pronouns. But, like I said, I have a whole video on case if you are interested in learning more on my YouTube channel. What do you think, Tortoise? I think I see towards.
Yeah.
Anything else? Oh, Aaliyah's telling us there's nothing else. I believe I remember the word towards. Oh, excellent. Thank you, 6. So we've gotten some confirmation. It's interesting phrasing, right? I remember the word towards. You think that maybe in a previous life, or however you would call it, maybe 6 knew how to read ancient. So what are we looking at here? See a verb marker.
Possibly place after that.
Right, our mountain on the water. Or island.
Negation.
I don't think that glyph after negation is familiar. Is that new to us?
It looks like it may be a modification of the one that appears in Buried. So you have this slanted sigma, and then, you know, maybe like a plural given some of the other relations that we have, but that's just a conjecture.
Could be.
And then verb. As sort of winding thing often seems to show up in words relating to movement or travel, I think.
Okay.
Like sail, for example, has that.
And towards.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end here, we've got an adjective that otherwise looks like water. So,
What is the adjective form of water? Orange.
yes, definitely. So, so we've got, we do have orange. Warm, interesting, as a subcategory of meaning. So, safe, quick, free. They do have, so I guess they're counting adverbs and adjectives together.
Yeah, just a modifier.
Because quick and quickly are slightly different in English, but they could be the same here. I think rivers are fast. They are not safe. They might be free. They're definitely not orange or warm.
I mean, we've also seen water possibly representing the concept of value.
That's true. So I wouldn't expect free. But I don't know.
So what was the something towards us?
Something towards us, something. So this is going to be one of these last two, because it's definitely a verb, right? So it's going to be ascend or return. Return towards us quickly. Ascend towards us quickly. Ascend towards us free.
And I would expect ascend to have the sort of like the eye with a circle, dotted with a circle.
For the concept of high up. So let's go with return. And what do you think here?
I mean, this is anything that I say would be just conjecture. You know.
Well, if it's conjecture, we'll go with my conjecture. Return towards us quickly. The loop teaches that souls who die return. I suppose that's what these people believed. Wellspring must be up there somewhere. Where does it all go? Into the nebula, perhaps? Into the rivers? Everywhere. This one isn't carved at all, but there's something inside the niche at the front. A silver charm like a ship. It dates at least to the early empire. It's incredible and ancient, and it doesn't have an inscription. It comes from the same source as the chipped knife, so this is leading us towards finding another place. There are niches in all of these markers, and they're empty, looted, or left that way. A centerpiece. The heart of it, just like the statue in the courtyard, was the heart of that space. I suppose the shape is supposed to be a person reaching towards the sky. The water's still flowing. There must be a powerful wellspring here. There. So why didn't anyone build a village to take advantage of all this water? This one's worn smooth. Alas, no inscription. She's right to wonder why anybody isn't living in a place with this much water. There's some most curious. What's most curious? What have you seen? 6? I've fallen to the river and I wouldn't even notice. Yo, 6? Ooh, this one seems to be made of older stone than the others. The first gravestone to be placed here is my opinion too. The stone is indeed different, older, and from a different source. And there's something up here. A hoop of metal. I wonder if it was once one of those on top of the ruined shrine. Heavy, but not as heavy as I expected. Mistress, please put that down. What's so special about it? If you cannot see that, what kind of archaeologist are you? What are you talking about now? You humans have no eyes. You do not understand what you're holding. So, what is it? Delicate. Put it down. I'm not going to just leave it here. It's valuable and important 6, and it's coming back maybe to Iox with us. And there's symbols on it! This one's the end of a broken fragment of text. I've got some familiar stuff here. That's definitely I. And some kind of unfamiliar verb. We've got 4 and some kind of adjective. Leah agrees with me. What do you think, Tortoise?
Alright, so it's a new verb. We haven't seen that, for lack of a better word, radical before. In the middle. But it also appears there. I could see it, like, sort of meaning something like speaking, like it's sort of being cast. Something is being sent out or cast.
So, die, speak, love, or open, long, wind, silent, good.
That one has the sort of pronoun marker with no dot.
Oh, yeah. So maybe
0th
it's
person.
empty, 0.
Yeah.
So another kind of negation. So if it's speak and silent, that seems not impossible. I speak for the silent. That sounds pretty cool. What is this thing? It's some kind of recording device? I feel sure I've seen something like it before. We might be able to trace where it's from. Perhaps there were metal hoops on all of these shrines originally. They might have been looted if they're valuable. Now, I don't know if you've spotted what 6 was talking about, but I did the first time I played this. I'll leave it a mystery for the moment, but where was it made, I wonder? Unclear. We may be able to locate its origin. That'd be nice. I'm not going to go on too much longer because we're already past 4 at this point, but let's see if we can get any more inscriptions. Here's one. Start of a fragment of text. Let's see. Well, I see you at the end here, assuming that is second person, but I don't see why it wouldn't be. I see goddess. Oh. I'm sure my translation for you is correct now. That's nice. So I guess this is all one word, which is good, because our other option was that the middle of it was we. You can see that in the related words section there. So blank goddess blank you. Noun goddess verb you.
That verb is...
It's a long verb.
Verb, person, many, first person, speak together.
So
Could be welcome of those 4.
yeah, that's my instinct as well. If we have we in here and then what we think is a speaking marker and a together marker, we speak together. That doesn't seem like it could be anything else. So, noun, not life. That seems pretty clear to me.
Yeah.
And that seems like the statue out in the courtyard, right? The death goddess welcomes you. So, broken steps up that way. And a stone marker here. Nothing on this one. Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go up the steps and look at the rest of these. This one's set apart from the others, and it's inscribed, of course. Tortoise is very busy this game.
It's great. That's what I'm here for.
Okay, well, it starts with I, and then we have that helping verb looking thing. Looks like another long and complicated verb.
Okay.
Oh, it could be return. And then there's a towards over here, but that doesn't seem right.
Not towards, so maybe away.
Yeah. And then we have rivers. Galia is going to tell us towards is wrong. Yep, that's what she did. So let's see. Yeah. Okay, we've gotten confirmation on the helping verb, or the future marker anyway. So, we think not towards is from.
Yeah.
We will return from the rivers. I will return from the rivers. They thought they were coming back. Believers in the loop. Let's go up by the waters. The air must be getting thinner. Take your time, mistress. This location is extremely unsafe. Well, there's not much to it. There's 2 stone markers and an edge.
The wind was strong up here. It wanted to grab you by the waist and chuck you down the cliff.
This moon is so lush, the valleys go on forever. I can see Elbereth, mistress, through the haze. You don't think this place was built to view Elbereth? No, mistress. That looks like a base of a marker. Maybe that was the one that was taken. What about you? These 2 seem in better condition than the ones below. The stone hasn't worn so much up here. Ow! What was that? It sounded like a spark. Interesting. As you have discovered experimentally, this shrine is indeed powered. They're machines? No, mistress. The stones are merely stones, but this one is charged. Aligned magnetic radiation similar to that which aligns and conveys the rivers. This is an interesting line of conversation. The shrine outside the moon was like these, I suppose, and just like these it had run out of power. It seems likely. I wonder how the power was used. This figurine we found in the shrine, did it do something? Well, let's put it in here. Not yet. Nothing. What exactly were you expecting? The shrine is only a rock. Powered rock, but still a rock. Evidently it is not a real goddess, it is a model. With something stored inside the water goddess figurine, something else would be displayed. Like what? A projector of some kind? The metal device we found below, perhaps? Okay, well, let's try that out. By the moons. Have I been asleep? It spoke with the voice of a child. Some kind of message? You have a message? Then spit it out. Who are you? You do not know who I am? Nope. I should have you killed for that. Just tell me who you are. My name is Kaya. I can't see you, it's so very dark. Why can't I see you? Where am I? Don't be scared, Kaya. Insolence. I will have you eat your eyes. I can't feel my legs. Ooh. Do you know about an observatory or a vault, mistress? I was not aware of this. I have never sailed, so the vault will open for me when it is time. Power is failing, mistress. You must ask what you want to ask. Tell me where you think you are, Kaya. The orangery, of course. Where is Alpha? She screamed. Orangery? Above the Withering Palace, of course. Have I been asleep? Oh. Mistress, the power in the plinth has failed. Is there a way to get more? No, mistress. The remaining potential is gone. I'll take the figurine. She didn't seem very nice, though. I wonder what Wong would make of her. What was that thing I just spoke to? A recording, presumably, much as Professor Miyari might send a recording. Recordings are responsive, but not fixed in matter. They are broad, not deep. That is their nature. But I spoke to it. It spoke back. You are surprised? Tell me, right now, who do you believe yourself to be talking to? There's no one here but you. I'd love to cut you open. Wow, Aaliyah! You would be intellectually disappointed. There is nothing inside of me. You have a brain, don't you? You like to pretend you do. I do not understand robot mind, mistress, despite being equipped with one. But Master Rinba described a robot as a mirror. Its reflection will vary as it is shifted. Who do you think she was, the ghost in the shrine? It would require more data, but I cannot imagine most people were recorded in this way. So the ghost was royalty, at least. How old was that recording? 6. Evidently, it is hard to be certain. My guess would be almost 350 years old. She's been stuck inside a figurine all that time. Mistress Kaya is not stuck anywhere. It is merely a recording. We're talking to the voice of a dead emperor? Indeed. Old emperors to advise the new ones. Immortality of a kind. I thought you said this place was thousands of years old. I was wrong, mistress. I was guessing. I wonder about that. Roy might be able to explain what it is. Well, that would be nice. An intact Empire site. Everything on Ajax was rebuilt after the fall. This place was never destroyed. You must assume it was never found. Nothing left when I touch it. Just a rock. Alright, that seems like a fitting end for the day. Thank you very much for coming with me on this journey. And thank you, Tortoise, for keeping up with all those inscriptions.
Yes. Wow.
Filling up more space than you expected?
Yeah, this is like... The number of inscriptions has basically doubled.
Yep.
Since the last session.
Well, I hope you all have a lovely weekend, and keep learning, friends.